Welcome to Reading the Green in our golf and fantasy sports show. My name is Mike with Jordan and Kyle on Tuesday, January 30th. This is episode 95, the AT&T Pebble Beach preview. Of course, we'll have the Farmers Insurance Open recap as well. Guys, welcome to the pod.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great, Kyle. Where are you joining us from?
I am outside of Boston. Funny enough, funny story about this. So yesterday it was a balmy 49 degrees in Minneapolis. So I was getting ready to leave and just didn't wear a coat in the car or to the airplane because, it's 49 degrees. You don't need a coat in Minnesota when it's 49 degrees. I get here, it was like, wow, I'm sure it's going to be just as warm, right? It's not. And I don't have a coat.
You could be running down and buying something, maybe. That's too bad.
There was a little dusting of snow when I woke up this morning, and it's 26 degrees out. So, Minneapolis, you guys stay balmy in Minneapolis.
Well, do you guys want to play golf on Friday?
If I was there, yeah.
That would be fun. I'm going to pick up a new toy instead.
Oh, right. Well, I heard maybe your wife is having LASIK later this week too, so you might need to be hanging around.
Yes.
Golf courses across the metro are opening though, which is just insane. And they're talking about January being, the only month they haven't been open. And if you're a golfer in Minnesota, January and February are tough months to get. So if it's on your bucket list to play golf in all 12 months in Minnesota in your lifetime, do it this week because it's the rare chance it's going to be open on the 31st and all the way to the first week of February. So pretty cool stuff. You want to know what else is cool? Today is the official kickoff of PGA Reignmakers on Draftkings. So if you're not familiar with
you're way off the deep end already. It's what you're telling us.
Far off.
It helps to follow the guys in Discord because it puts everything in perspective. I'm not off the deep end. I'm sticking my toe in the water. The people that are shelling out $10,000 today are the people that are off the deep end. But for those in the audience that are not familiar with Reignmakers, it is DraftKings NFT-based, who cares about NFTs, but NFT-based fantasy game where you collect players. You pay money into a marketplace for players throughout the season in exchange for playing them in contests that are effectively free to enter and pay out prizes, either cash or additional player cards, different than a normal fantasy contest where you're paying an entry fee to enter the contest. So today is drop day at the beginning of the season. So they actually haven't had any Reignmakers contest for PGA this year. The first official 2024 Reignmakers contest will start for the AT&T at Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And so, of course, today they're just dropping a ton of packs. And so I probably, I've bought my fair share, of course. But I'm just trying a different strategy this year. So last year I was a little more selective, buying off secondary, trying to hand build lineups, overpaying for players. This year I'm trying a different strategy of just shell out my investment money up front on drop day when things are accessible and also have the highest value, sell off what I don't need and try to get back to even quickly. We're going to find out how this happens. But Kyle, I know I suckered you into buying a pack right now. I know on the cheap end, but you got to round out some of your cards for the Pebble Beach.
You needed to add on the cheap end there, Mike. That seems
well. To put things in perspective, Kyle bought a pack of 3 cards for $9. I bought a pack of 5 cards for $250. So yeah, there's a spectrum of how these things work. I promise that in theory, it makes sense. But the other thing you should know, Jordan, as you pointed out, anybody can participate in Reignmakers, and I'm not trying to sell it, but like if you want to start an addiction, go claim the 35 cards starter pack.
35, which is crazy.
Last year was what, 7?
I got 2 Tony Finau's
in a pack
this week. But yeah, 2 Tony Finau's in one pack.
Wow.
Yeah,
I was actually pretty happy with my pack overall. We didn't go into it over text, but I had some winners in there.
But did you have
Yeah.
2 Tony Finau's?
I didn't. I had 0 Tony Finau's.
The way the starter packs work is you basically pick a pack that guarantees one of the 6 studs on tour: Scotty, Rory, Xander, and
Vic.
whoever else. And so Vic, we all picked Vic. I picked Vic as well. I didn't wanted to ride with you guys. Second card out of the gate though was Terrell Hatton. I then click open ESPN.com and he jumps to live. So fortunately, DraftKings set up an exchange option to basically trade your Hatton starter for a Bradley. So I traded it for Keegan Bradley because I don't need Hatton for
nice.
one tournament this year. So that was nice.
I will tell you, disappointing news. I got 2 of the 4 winners on the tour so far. Chris Kirk and Grayson Murray.
No, Grayson. All right, should I open my
Kyle,
high level booster, Mike?
Let's do it. Let's see it. I'm pulling for you. You're at a 50% chance of getting 1 rare.
You got the sound effects. We'll give you those. I got a rare.
Ooh.
I got. I'll open the cores first. Ryan Armour.
Okay.
Chesson Hadley.
Like him.
I had like 3 Chesson Hadleys last year when I only had like 80 cards, so that's cool. And my rare is Luke Donald. Do you get extra credit for having the Ryder Cup captain?
Ouch.
I don't think that he accumulates points.
And I don't. Did I get anyone in the field this week?
No, because the whole point was for you to add. You had to round out a lineup with 2 more players, so I feel like you're going to have to keep ripping until you get someone. You can tell how excited I am about this. I'm even going to share my screen for those loyal YouTube watchers and for you guys, because I have 3 packs. I'm
gonna buy another one only because Jordan will love this. I bet against Iowa basketball tonight since I'm in a state that can bet, and I got it correct. So whatever.
Did you bet the under? I'm just wondering.
No, I bet against Iowa to win.
Oh, I just assumed Iowa basketball also didn't score many points because
it's complete opposite, Jordan. How you were wrong. They score lots of points. They don't play defense. But
football team just being ripped everywhere these days, even in golf articles.
Golf Digest. The Golf Digest article about the house you could buy outside of Des Moines. Did he hire Iowa?
Did he hire his wife as the offensive coordinator now, or do we have a new Ferenc coordinator?
There is a new offensive coordinator. Mike is trying to open a packet here.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go one by one here. Let's get back to the Reignmakers chat because this is drop day. I'm gonna quick reveal these 2 core packs. So this is just 6 core players, however, the top 2 tiers of players. So these should be studs or semi-studs. So let's hope for some good stuff here. We got Eckroat, Cameron Davis, Chris Kirk, Brian Harmon, Scott Stalling, Sam Burns. Not thrilled. Let's go right back and open the other one here.
Well, I bought another one, Mike. I got Lee Hodges and Lanto Griffin core and Adam Svensson rare. So I got somebody in the field.
That Adam Svensson rare would, if you sold it, would pay for both those purchases probably.
Do it and then buy 2 more packs.
I agree. Okay, here we go. Here comes the next one. Here comes the next set of 6 core players, group 1 and 2. Jason Day, Aaron Rye, Lee Hodges. Lee Hodges, Rogers.
2 in the same one. Ben on.
And
all right, not terrible.
I don't see a single group 1 player. I think Jason Day probably is. So that's kind of a bummer on those 2.
You think they would give it so you don't get 2 of the same guy in one? Like not that hard of algorithm to.
I think it's in their best interest to just screw you left and right.
Lee Hodges is playing this week, so Bamo. I forgot he got the win last year.
Well, there you go. Are you ready to see this? This one we'll slow play this one. Are you ready to see the 5 card pack here?
I'm hoping for 4 Lee Hodges and a Scotty Scheffler.
So here's the deal.
Ooh.
Well, no, that says core. That's a core. That white one is a core.
So 5 rares.
I did not pick up an elite. There was a 1 in 3 chance of picking up an elite in this pack. That's a bummer. There also was a.
I'll do it.
Well, I know there also was like a 1 in 1.5 chance of, or 1 in whatever 5 chance of picking up a what's called a rare royal, and that would also pay. I don't know how that shows up here, but here we go.
What's a rare royal?
They're like a different set that can only be found in some of these drops and are extremely exclusive. So
that's a good core.
So this is getting even more mid marketing, MLM, multi-level marketing scam.
Yes.
Well,
and I believe and I know we've probably lost so many, let's get through this. We've probably lost so many listeners at this point. The rare royals, I guess, based on the performance of the golfer in real life, earn you DraftKings like crowns and other benefits throughout the season. So there's a value in holding them. Ricky Fowler. It's nice to welcome Ricky Fowler to Reignmakers. He must have shed the sponsor last year that precluded him from being a part of this program. Don't mind that. Taylor Moore, piece of crap. Sahith.
Oh, you got a royal.
That's a royal. All right, we're gonna have to go check.
One.
We're gonna have to check the resale value on that because that's a sweet hit. That's about 1 in 10 chance of hitting that.
You got number 17 of 100.
Yeah, that could be worth some dough. That just made it worth it. Also pick up a Matt Wallace and Brian Harmon. There we go. Good work, team.
So you got Cantlay's good, even though he's a core. Ricky's good. The Heath, and then TBD.
Yeah, we'll sell off the rest. All right, good work, guys. Let's talk about real golf. And before we do that, you got a beer, Jordan? You were drinking something that looked delicious.
Yes, I went with the one I texted you guys last week that you so ridiculously asked me how old it was. Yeah, I actually haven't bought a Modist beer in quite a while. Like they just haven't come out with stuff, but I love their liquid Mosaic crystals. They do it every year, and it is delicious. And only a couple months old instead of years, like you expected.
I did ask the gentleman at the liquor store about liquid Mosaic crystals, and I said past years have been meh, in my opinion, and he said this year was probably the best. So
I like it. It's good.
Very good. I picked up what was the last 4-pack in the store of Junkyard's OG Kushions, which I assume is they're reprising probably a beer called Kushions. I don't know this far back, but it is really good. But they say it's featuring, I'm assuming these are past beers, the Chemdog Couch, the Northern Lights Nap Nest, the Sour Diesel Sectional Sanctuary, our original Cushy Pillows, the Alaskan Thundercloud Sofa Set, the White Widow Woven Sectional, the Sour Tangy Snuggle Station, and the Durban Poison Dream Divan. I have no idea what they're talking about. This beer is awesome, though.
I've had that before. Solid. I'm in a hotel room. I've had some beers tonight. Dry January is complete for me, but currently I have a bottle of water.
Welcome back, Kyle. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Let's talk about the Farmers Insurance Open real quick. This was the third week in a row, I think, for us that we had an unmodeled player in the RTG model winning. Matt Paven getting the win by just a gutsy birdie on 18. Matt Paven, son of Corey Paven, actually. Jordan, thoughts about Matt Paven?
I know it's not because it's spelled differently.
I was just hoping.
I have no idea who he is and no other information about
Matthew Pavon, the first Frenchman to win on the PGA Tour, because Martin Traynor was playing under the U.S. flag when he won in Puerto Rico several years ago. But Matthew Pavon wins the Farmers with, honestly, were you guys watching down the stretch? I was not. I watched a few of the highlights.
I did not watch down the stretch, unfortunately. Was that previously mentioned birthday dinner? But I heard it was kind of crazy. A little bit of up and down, like hey, he's dead. Oh, he makes a bomb. Oh, he's dead. He's in trouble again. And then he scrambles and saves birdie and wins.
The wheels were just totally coming off, and he coming down the stretch on 16, he flares out this just absolutely weak, whatever iron he's hitting, weak on the par three shot into the bunker, basically chunks his bunker shot, and rolls in like a 25 footer for par to maintain a two-shot lead, goes to 17 and three jacks it by missing a 3-footer to end up with a one-shot lead going into 18, hits his tee shot in the left bunker about like 4 inches from the lip, tries to hit the hero shot, flubs it, doesn't make it back to the fairway. And as you know, the rough at Torrey this past week was absolutely insane. And he has about 145 yards to the green over water to that like front right pin and just takes it on. Just huge hack. 8 feet from the hole, drains it to match Højgaard's birdie and walks off with the one stroke lead, the 1-stroke win. But I don't know. It's been a really weird start to the season, Kyle. I don't know what the deal is between Grayson Murray and Matthew Pavon, and I'm blanking on who and Nick Dunlap. Like we just keep getting triple digit winners.
Yeah. And I hope some of that craziness in the New World Order explains maybe some of my DraftKings performance so far, but which hasn't been great. It nuts. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping to a little return to normalcy this week, but we'll see. It's fun. It's always great to see farmers on TV. We could take advantage of some showdowns this week. Something we got to keep in mind. Last week, I mean, something to keep in mind for next year with the North Course distance bomber stacks. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Oh, I will actually one other thing. I wish I remember the exact stat on No Laying Up, but I believe he made 12 putts on the week over 20 feet, which is just bonkers.
I did hear that stat as well. I mean, that's the kind of thing where you catch lightning in a bottle and you make the most of it. I mean, he's on the PGA Tour via the DP World Tour agreement to promote the top 10 players, and so he's won one event on DP World Tour. He's just been on effectively a run over really only the last 6 months, and it culminates with this win at the Farmers. So I don't know. I don't expect a lot of it of Matthew Pavon going forward, but you never know. I will say, before we run through the RTG stats, it does not get old watching golf on TV at Torrey Pines.
I love it.
No, it is. I'm actually going to be right out there next week. No golf.
What?
Oh yeah, I won't be on the pod next Tuesday. Did I say that before?
You're usually a Scottsdale guy. What's going on? You're doing both?
This is work.
Oh, all right. All right.
Then 2 weeks later, it's Scottsdale vacation.
Okay.
Getting out of this cold weather.
Yeah, I saw someone today tell me they're going to Hawaii. I'm like, why do you go to Hawaii? It's 50 degrees in Minneapolis. There's no reason to go to Hawaii. RTG Listener League, Jimmy Crack takes the top spot, followed by Buke 0215. And Kyle, you're sticking around the top 3, a third place finish. No complaints there, I assume.
No, I'll take it. It's one of the little bright spots this week for the second week in a row. So I'm just trying to do my part for this crew here.
I appreciate that. Otherwise, there was a bunch of RTG logos at the bottom of the standings, which, like you said, reflects our collective performance in DFS with all this wonkiness going on, which means the good and the bad. We did not have much good going on in the RTG corner. Really, our first off week of the year. I'm all good to admit that. Colin and Im were our 2 top power index plays. Both shit the bed. A couple of other kind of model favorites, Jason Day. Like it was not good, and we were all over Keegan Bradley as well. That Jordan, thank God he made the cut.
You guys would have been in trouble because Minwoo Lee made the cut, and Michael Kim made the cut too. My 2 other choices, right?
Michael Kim would have. Would have been
He
a good
did,
one.
but he did not finish very good on the weekend. We workshopped it. We got to the right place. All you needed to get through was get through.
True.
We did it. Now
Yeah.
you still
And
have all the
it's-
studs left.
And we're down to less than 100 people left, so probably 55-ish percent of the people are already out. Because Morikawa, Im, and Day took out a large chunk this week. So
Yeah,
maybe a question for you guys: how much longer do you think this lasts?
So we're talking about a Survivor League. So
Yeah.
this is you just got to have your pick for the week make the cut. Obviously, there's tiebreakers with you talked about how much money they make. The question though, is it only the top? Is it just the last person standing takes the pot? Is that the deal?
Good question. I don't know if I even looked at the rule.
So the interesting thing though this year is with the no cuts. So and actually that was something else I was going to bring up is maybe you almost got to be more aggressive with studs because some of the elevated fields there's not cuts
none.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, like
So, but
this week, right?
so-
There's no one.
Yeah, RBC, Wells Fargo, Travelers are the other three with no cuts the rest of the way.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure, so I just Googled it.
Yeah, so you're basically saying, Kyle, like unlike a one and done where you got to save your guys for those events in the Survivor League, you're going to skip those events, and so you can play them elsewhere. That's a good point.
To answer your question, Mike, I'm gonna walk through the schedule real quick here. I'm going to say, man, if you're down to 100.
50%
I
of
mean, I
the
think
entrance.
I think by the deer, right around the 4th of July, I think you're gonna be down. You're gonna be pretty close.
All it takes is an event with just crazy weird weather, like could be the Players, could be obviously the Open, where you just get someone caught up in the bad draw and wipes out a quarter or a third of the remaining players. Yeah.
I mean, you could have somewhere like Rocket Mortgage where like Cameron Young and Tony Finau missed the cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, let me just round out here the RTG model results. We had our tournament winner, Matthew Pavon, finishes -13. Unmodeled, third week in a row. We had an unmodeled player, which means of the experts that we track, nobody mentioned him. I'm not surprised. He certainly came out of nowhere. Gutsiest play of the week goes to Len Hochberg at RotoWire. Surprise, Len has a 6K play that crushes it. Doug Gim this week, finishing in the top 10. So good job, Len Hochberg, providing Doug Gim, top contributor, top expert, John Hazelbauer with a sleepers article. John's sleepers article, I will admit, struggled last year. This week, pretty solid. Pendrith, Michael Kim, Charlie Hoffman, who, Kyle, I think I told you to leave on the bench, and Reignmakers and Sam Stevens, all making the cut, all showing up pretty well. So good job, John H, on your sleepers picks. Otherwise, I'm looking forward to the Pebble Beach because Farmers was a money pit for me. Jordan, last bit, do you have one and done update for us after the Farmers?
I do. We had one guy pick Nikolai Højgaard and get almost $1 million.
That's ballsy.
Yes, Mulligan 46, big jump. Then there were a lot of people in the 200, 150K. I didn't look you guys up. Keegan, Mike, I got a few $1,000. I did
well with Decky. He kind of ejected on Friday. But
hey, that's good though. I haven't looked at the year to date, but Kyle, you must have moved up the board quite a bit, making something more than 2 figures.
Picking Nikolai when he just played in Dubai and got off on a plane on like Tuesday is
you guys, I did watch a little bit on Saturday, and he's got like his shirt untucked. He's spraying every drive like 40 yards right. He was I'm surprised he hung around that long because he looked ready to leave on, or I should say Friday. He looked ready to leave on Friday afternoon.
But yeah, so we got 5 guys over $1 million, another one close, and then it drops off after that. So long way to go.
Yeah.
Last year's winner was last year's winner was 19 million. I think it's safe to assume Mike doesn't get that high this year again. So,
We'll
yeah.
see.
Oh,
We'll
also
see.
I found Survivor League. It is winner take all unless you decide. Last year they chopped it. The last two guys left chopped it based on earnings. So.
Ooh, I'm excited. I'm excited. Let's keep this going. Let's talk about the AT&T Pebble Beach preview. We get our next up in the course rotation, although a little bit different flavor on the AT&T Pebble Beach because we drop off Monterey Peninsula, so we just get a course rotation between Spyglass Hill and Pebble Beach, and there's no cut. So this is going to feel different. It's an elevated event, so we're going to get some studs there that haven't played here, which I think is kind of cool. Pebble Beach, again, back to back with Torrey. It's just a fantastic golf course to watch on TV. We all know it. Justin Rose won here last year, and general strategy, Kyle, the notes I have is you can kind of hit it wherever you want off the tee. Everyone's really going to play from the same spot, the same distances. It really comes down to hitting the crap out of your irons and figuring out how to get the ball in the hole around the greens. These are the smallest greens on tour, I think. So what else you got?
Yep. Yeah, small greens on tour's shortest average drive at 268 yards on Pebble, which will, as you said, play 3 of the 4 rounds. But not a huge bonus for accuracy. So like you said, I'm not really too concerned with off the tee plays as stats this week. I am concerned about course history, which is kind of going to be funky since there is some guys that don't play here very often, but we do have some US Open stats here. We do have some USAM stats from here. A lot of wedges, shots under 125, but then also some long irons, 175 to 200. So you kind of lose the middle iron game for the most part. With those small greens, you're going to have extra short game around the green scrambling, but it doesn't statistically play abnormally hard. But what does play a little harder than normal is the bunkers. And then putting. Specific to here, it was what I'd be most interested in with the POA. Historically, it's the 6th hardest putting course on tour. That's courtesy of Rick Rungood. So yeah, I feel like there's a very specific path a lot of the people from that are using modeling output are going to take this week. So I guess if you are looking to go different, you could try to zig while everyone's zagged. But I generally like that profile. Course comps, Harbortown, Port Royal, that's the Bermuda Open, Silverado. And then just one last little note for me this week. I don't know about you guys, but for some reason I always liked playing Spyglass Hill on Tiger Woods back in the day. It would seem to be a fun course, even though we don't get to see it very much. I like maybe we get a little more Spyglass this time. And Spyglass does play about a half a stroke to even 1.6 strokes harder than Pebble, just a note for sure.
Yeah. Pebble's one of those courses that, it's not, it certainly has held its own probably because of, like you said, how it restricts the length off the tee. And so it's not one of these roll the ball back courses, but it's not particularly difficult either for guys that get it going on approach.
Correct. Unless the wind comes up, which actually that's one thing to keep an eye on this week is the weather.
Have you seen some of the have you seen some of the tweets that are like gusts up to 48 miles an hour on Sunday? It's gonna be like one of those videos if you've seen people like hitting driver on 7 because it's blowing straight into their face like 75 miles an hour. That would be pretty cool to get some of that.
Yeah, yeah. And let's make it a test. Let's make it fun. We've already had like random ass winners so far this year. So let's get crazy, right?
So this before we jump into the model though, I do this. It begs the question, like if it's really messy weekend, like what does that mean for the Pro-Am? And the pros are the AMs are only going to play the first 2 rounds, I believe. So just a couple of thoughts on the Pro-Am, because remember that we're gonna have some of the celebrities out there and those that want to drop 25K or whatever it costs these days to play. But so first of all, question: would you guys play? Was it if it's 25K or 30K? I think we looked it up. Like whatever it is, would you pay to do it? Like What position
I
would
mean,
you have
if-
to be in?
If 30K was a drop in the bucket, sure.
Yeah.
One thing on the Pro-Am this year, though, one pod I listened to mentioned that it's almost all athletes. There's no random actors, by the way.
Okay.
So no Larry
What?
the Cable Guy, no Ray Romano. Yeah.
No Bill Murray?
Bullshit.
No Bill Murray.
Oh, Bill Murray will be there. There's no way Bill Murray's not going to be there. He's the #1 fan draw.
What makes an ideal partner in something like this? I feel like we ask this every year, but if you're Justin Thomas, you're Keegan Bradley, you're Rory McIlroy, like who do you want to play with? You want to pick your partner? Do you want to play with someone that's going to be out of your way? You want to play with a stick? You want to play with a schlub? Like, what do you guys think?
Someone that's just moving and doesn't really try to talk to you, I'm guessing, is the general Pro-Am sentiment. Did Michael Kim have a little bit of a...
He just, yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. Michael Kim brought that up of like, just if you're playing in a Pro-Am, talk to us a little bit. Don't we're just normal
Don't try to
people.
bet.
Don't try and bet. We don't want to bet you. Like, no matter how good you're playing, your tees are 50 yards ahead of ours. Like, don't try and talk shit. Like, just be normal. Like, we're normal.
I will be honest.
Michael Kim is the new best Twitter follow.
It doesn't seem to, I'm happy that he's playing well too, because I feel like the world, the non-Twitter world needs to get to know him a little bit, and that would happen through him playing good golf. But those of us that are scrolling Twitter all the time, although I'm not, because I busted the screen on my phone over the weekend, so I haven't been able to scroll Twitter as endlessly as I normally would. But I imagine he's got good things to say. Last question on the Pro-Am. All this considered, did Aaron Rodgers last year ruin Pro-Ams with his sandbaggery?
I mean, that's not all he's ruined in the last 12 months.
I completely forgot about Rodgers last year. Yeah.
And Josh Allen talking shit
Yeah.
about him sandbagging. Yeah.
That was wasn't that the Keith Mitchell?
Play in Pro-Ams because he's not getting ready for the Super Bowl.
Wow. Ooh. It wasn't that Keith Mitchell though last year, who was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. He says he's a 10 handicap. I don't know, a lot of 10 handicaps that shoot 72 at Pebble Beach or something like that.
I completely
go back and look that up. I feel like Keith
Yeah.
went after him at a press conference. Anyways, Kyle, take us to the RTG model. We got to have some kind of angle here this week.
We got two guys at the top of the board. Not surprising at all. Eric Cole leading the way at 44% mention share, and Max Homa also at 44% mention share. Max Homa is a lot higher on the MPI 81, but I'm not surprised Cole's there. I mean, almost everything I've looked at from a modeling perspective and what the inputs and that we've talked about, Eric Cole ranks really high, if not top of the board. So I'm not surprised at all. The next group of players, you got Jordan Spieth, our boy JTP, and Victor Hovland, all at 32% mention share. Our MPI so far really likes JTP and Hovland. And actually, Mike, starting off there, are some of the guys I like too. Homa this week, obviously the California angle and familiarity with POA, but his last three starts, T10, T14, T7. At Pebble Beach. Landon Selinsky's on him. Jason Sobel's on him. He's only 9,200. You can do a lot with him at that salary point. So I like Homa this week. I like JTP. Obviously, always like him, but he has just been on fire. Hasn't missed a cut since June. He has 7 top 10s in that time frame. T5, 6th, and T11 the last 3 times out. Spencer over at Rotoballer's on him. Brandon Gudula's on him. Only 7,900. Man, that seems like it's a great play. And her MPI loves him at 100. A perfect MPI so far.
I really love JTP here too. I think I don't know how chalky he's going to get. I mean, I think we're seeing projections of him probably in the range of 15 to 20%. Maybe that's a little hot, but you're right, Kyle. He's doing things the JTP way just gaining on the greens constantly, which we know can be rewarded at Pebble Beach, hitting it great on approach, positive in approach in almost every event, going back on that run since June, and then wonky off the tee. And what's better than being a little volatile off the tee than on a course that doesn't reward accuracy or length? So this course really fits his skill set, and I can totally back JTP here. A couple other guys that are on my mind. I could see Colin in a bounce back here. He misses the cut at the Farmers, but before that he was 5th at the Century. He was 7th at Hero, but wins the Zozo, 6th at the Tour Championship. If you want a guy that's going to be an elite iron player, it's just whether or not he gets it done on the greens. I think Colin could be a good bounce back candidate this week, and only at $9,100. Even you could go Max and Colin in the same lineup and starting in 2 low 9Ks. I think that's a great option. The big question mark for me is I've seen a few write-ups on Maverick McNeely this week, and everyone knows that Maverick McNeely grew up in Pebble Beach or Carmel or somewhere in the area. His dad, bajillionaire, running Sun Microsystems for a while. But Len Hochberg, Lee Aldrich, John Haselbauer, we got a bunch of guys that are liking Maverick McNeely this week at 6,200. And so if we're really going to get Maverick at 5% in basically his backyard, he finished pretty well here a couple of years ago. He finished, in 2nd in 2021 and 5th in 2020. I like that if I can get that much leverage out of Maverick. He has not been playing good by any means, but would be worth a flyer.
$6,200. That's the one interesting thing, right? Getting into these elevated events, right? I mean,
for sure.
The first month of the PGA Tour has been a total snoozer because does anyone know any of their names outside of nerds like us that won it? No. Like the leaderboard this Saturday. First it was a Saturday, the final round, and then the top 5 guys were a bunch of snoozers.
We didn't even talk about, though, how we were sweating Thomas Dietrich, the 53-hole leader, because we got him in the Calcutta. And boy, God, hole 54 just blew up his
I blanked
weekend.
that out from my memory, Mike. The 80-yard ripper is what's that's now going to be called in the future. No, but Jordan, you bring up a good point on lineup construction this week and just price points and salary. And I think it's very interesting how DraftKings priced, and I think that's going to make it just another reason it could be a fun week with Scotty at 11.4 and Rory at 11.5. And then just some of the guys you have in the 8s, like I'm looking at like Matt Fitzpatrick, for example, 8,200. He's 25% mention share so far. MPI likes him. Andy Lack is all over him. Andy Lack actually likes him to win this week over at Run Pure Sports. Landon Selinsky's on him, who we had a lot of success with last year. I mentioned Harvard Town as a comp. Fitzpatrick won last year, and I think Sony is going to be in people's minds. Miscut there, but if you look at what he had done before that, yes, he was 14th at Century and 4th at Hero. Really doesn't matter, obviously, but he won the Alfred Dunhill back in October at the old course. The Omega European Masters, he was 3rd. Tour Championship was 9th, so he was feeling pretty good in the fall. $8,200 for Fitz. I think that's crazy.
Fitz was going to be one of my plays as well. MPI likes him, and $8,200.
I could see it in your eyes, so I had to get there first, Jordan.
Yeah. Well, first I wasn't paying attention when you started talking it because someone was pinging me about work. And then I was like, oh, I know what he's talking about. Fitzy. I did get a Fitz in my Reignmakers cards as well. So
here we go.
All in on Fitz. The other 2 that I was going to mention, Bo Hostler and Brandon Wu. Bo seems to have been playing pretty well. I say that without actually looking to see how he did last week. But Brandon Wu's at 6,300. MPI is liking him. So team B is there.
You know that this group likes Brandon Wu this week. he missed the cut at the American Express, didn't play the Farmers, finished T18 at the Sony, which is a nice finish, but has been pretty good on approach. So it's whether or not he gets it going around the green. But I'll take a guy. I'll take a guy that's been playing solid iron play this winter so far, and let's go. I'd love to see Brandon Wu flash this weekend.
And Bo Hostler tied for 6th. Look at that. I didn't even realize he was good last week when I picked him. Also,
that's why
I did a little research while you guys were blabbering on about golf. The Pro-Am this year is $70,000 to get in, up from
70.
Well, because they cut the field almost in half.
Mm.
And you get less rounds.
Yeah,
you only get 2 rounds and only 2
and and Bill Murray's officially been cut. He's not even in it. It's only athletes. But Aaron Rodgers is playing. He got a whole bunch of rounds on the simulator with his Achilles, so his handicap's like a 32 now.
All right. Well, Kyle, before we get to the name game, do you want to run through tiers? I believe the engineering crew over here got the tiers preview working. So do you got a spot you want to highlight?
I'm actually semi-ready for this week. We're going to talk about tier 3. I always love tiers and events like this, seeing where some of the guys land. For example, you have Fitzy and Decking tier 4, but tier 3, Max Homa, Tommy Fleetwood, Ludwig, Tony Finau. So far, they're all getting some mention. Obviously, we've talked about Max and how we like him this week, but if you're looking to pivot anywhere, I do like Tommy Fleetwood as well. 8,600, 20% of the mention share so far, strong MPI. And just from a course fit perspective, I think he's a better fit than Ludwig or Tony. And he was playing some pretty good golf overseas, too, so might be sneaking up on some people.
I was going to mention that because I think, that's something that you do got to remember, especially earlier this year. You have a lot of guys that have been playing overseas like Rory, Tommy. Their finishes are not going to show up if you're just kind of scanning, if you're scanning because of the preview articles. But yeah, Tommy 14th at the Dubai Desert Classic, wins the Dubai Invitational the previous week. So I don't know. I think I like that play. I would consider him in Classic DFS as well. Do you want to talk about the name game?
Yeah, let's do it.
Jordan,
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I know. It's okay because unlike one and done, where you actually win real money, name game, you're competing for pride and whatever other things we can layer on top of that. You're still winless on the year. And in a rare turn of events, I picked up another win, and I now am atop the leaderboard with 2 wins on this young season, primarily because I took Trace Crow last week. Trace Crow. I got 3 players across the cut on my squad last week, including Justin Rose, Harris English, and Trace Crow. No one else, I think, even got 2 across the cut. So it wasn't good. So I will take
stuckage.
It was. I will take the pleasure of building the game for this week. And since we're at Pebble Beach, I was trying to think of other famous beaches where maybe some golfers might frequent that are playing in this field this week, while they're looking over the coast of the Monterey Peninsula and all that. And so I was able to put together 4 teams based on players' favorite beaches. And so you'll be able to pick from one of these groups of individuals. And the draft order is going to be listeners first. So we'll collectively assign a group for the listeners, followed by Jordan, then Kyle, and I'll get what's left over. So team 1 is Justin Thomas, who I hear likes Thomas Beach at the local Bidet Makaska in South Minneapolis. Chris Kirk frequents Kirk Beach in Montauk, New York. And then Webb Simpson, of course, could be found at the Simpson Beach in Portland. That's team 1. Team 2, Sam Burns Beach in Australia. Denny McCarthy up at the McCarthy Beach in Side Lake, Minnesota. I don't know if you guys have been there. And then Davis Riley I think he went on his honeymoon at Railai Beach in Thailand.
I'm curious how you got to a beach in Thailand as part of this, but continue.
Max Homa The tour was just in Hawaii, so you can find him at Hamoa Beach in Hana on Maui. Keegan Bradley Beach in Hilton Head, and Mackenzie Hughes, the Hughes Beach in Livingston, Texas. And lastly, Tommy Fleetwood, of course, had his own private family beach, the Fleetwood Beach in the United Kingdom. Corey Connors, the Connors Beach in Australia, and then Cameron Davis coming over from Australia and making his home on the shores of the Ben T. Davis Beach in Tampa. Fleetwood, Connors, and Davis. What do you think for the listeners? I mean, all these groups are coming in right around 23,000, anywhere from 22,500 to 23,300. Kyle, you got a lean for the listeners?
Yeah, I think our listeners, we have listeners from all over the place, right? We have some international listeners. So I think we should give them the international lean of Team 2, Australian Beach and Thailand Beach in there. And then we have a beach in Minnesota. So we're covering all of our bases for our international clientele.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Jordan, who do you like?
Which one should I pick incorrectly this week?
Please tell me so I don't bet or pick those people in DraftKings.
Yeah. I'm debating 3 or 4. I like Homa at the top, right? California kid. Probably going to be a very popular one and done pick this week because you either pick him now or at the Genesis. Or Team 4. I'm gonna go Team 3. I'm going.
I think that's the right
homies.
pick.
Yeah, I was gonna go, and plus that they have the best names. Like that was the best direct correlation. So I'm down with it. Is it me now? I don't mind JT this week, but I can't really get behind Webb Simpson, even though he has some great course history here. But I mean, this is not Webb Simpson of 2016 anymore. So I'm going Team 4.
It's a steal, Kyle. He should be at least $7,000.
I've heard this take, Kyle.
Give me Corey Connors.
All right. I got you. But I've heard this take on Webb Simpson about having such great course history here. Does he have great course history here? Cut, T26, T46, cut.
That's actually a good point because I'm just repeating something I've heard on.
I feel like I've heard that, and I'm not sure that's exactly true. He's only played here 5 times since 2009. So no, I don't think Webb Simpson has great course history here. So it's a pleasure that I'm stuck with him this week. Let's go JT. All right, let's round things out, Kyle. Usually when you're on the road and you find yourself in a betting state, you're gonna bet on the AT&T Pebble Beach.
I have some bets. I'm in a betting state. I have some bets. Patrick Cantlay got him earlier this week at 20-1. I just thought that was a great number, given somebody who does have some good course history here and some good experience here. I'm sticking with Matt Fitz, just following Andy Lack on that one, 30-1. This number I don't love, but the books must think he's going to win, so I'm going with it. Benny on 35-1. Eric Cole at 50, Wyndham Clark at 70, and just because I can't bet this week, I got a little crazy. And Seamus Power at 300-1, just for like a little sprinkle. You know what, guys? I opened up my betting app, and the other option on here is the Bahrain Championship. So give me some ideas on who I should bet at the Bahrain Championship.
Well, there is another tournament going on this weekend that you probably could bet on.
I don't know of such a other tournament, Mike. I'm gonna get some bets in for the Super Bowl before I depart the betting state, but
fair enough. I want to come back to Reignmakers drop day since I checked out the marketplace. What if I told you that a Sahith Rare Royal would clear my investment to date?
I would say sell it and buy another one live right now.
Yeah. Well, the problem I have, so Yes, but will it actually sell? Because I listed my
No,
my-
hold on. That's the top active offer. That's not even the marketplace floor price. That's an offer that's out there.
Oh, so you could just take it and do what Jordan said.
Yeah, like come on, let's
I
go
could.
live. Let's open up
No.
another.
I gotta do a little bit of research here. We're not ready to pull the
Price is
trigger on
only going to
that.
go down as more of these packs get open, Mike.
Not on those rare royals. Not on those rare royals. I mean, dude, that was a really good hit. I'm glad that our listeners are able to partake in that, because that was a real good hit. But with that,
you know what?
anything else for you guys?
Before we end, to finish up an earlier conversation, might even been before we were on. I looked up Kyle, who Iowa hired as their offensive coordinator. Man, your Iowa fans seem really pumped to hire this schlub as their offensive coordinator.
He just went and, I mean, hey, people in the Midwest love guys from Western Michigan. Come on, Minnesota.
Oh my God!
Cooper.
But he couldn't even. He took over for PJ Fleck and got fired because he was so bad.
He had a couple good years, and then things got a little sideways.
He had 1 8-win season. I don't think he even had a 10-win season.
Well, he was very good with all PJ's leftover players.
It took Kirk Ferentz 90 days to find this guy.
Hey, you can't rush perfection.
They could have hired him. What was his last job, Kyle?
He was an offensive analyst for the Packers.
He was an analyst for the Packers. Not even a real position, Kyle.
No, that is real. That's what you do as an interim.
Sorry, I had to give you a little shit. And I read it. All of your Blackheart Gold Pants also thinks it's a total shit hire. So it's
Some people really like it. I'm over here trying to bet the Baharan Championship, Jordan, and you're distracting me. I got to go find Greenville Wood for 125-1.
God, you're leaving money on the table if you're not betting the Mayakoba this week. Anyways, you can follow us on YouTube, Reading the Green, and of course on Twitter at RTG Podcast DFS. We have new podcasts out every Wednesday morning covering each PGA Tour event on any of your favorite podcast platforms. We'll be back in a week with the results from the Pebble Beach AT&T Pro-Am and preview the People's Open at TPC Scottsdale. See ya.